Hey everyone, here I am through the steering wheel. Sorry about the weird angle, I couldn't get the phone to balance anywhere else. Um, I've just read it, well, I read this on holiday, Real World, lighting's not great on that, which is another book by Natsuo Kirino. I love Natsuo Kirino, I've read two of her books and reviewed them so far. One is Out, which is about a bunch of women who end up chopping up bodies, and she writes so well that you can believe every word of it, and actually you think the women chopping up the bodies are doing the right thing because the way she writes it, in that situation you do exactly the same thing. Or I read it and thought I'd do exactly the same thing. I now read another one of hers called Grotesque, which I also reviewed, which is excellent. Once again, really pushing the boundaries of what you'd thought, or what I thought I'd ever see as, yeah, this is within the realms of possibility, and I can see why they do it. But it's fantastic. So when I saw this one, Real World, which is a more recent translation, she's written a load of stuff, but she's Japanese and her stuff has only been translated into English recently. So as soon as something comes out, I'll get it, I'll read it. Let me read you the back. In the suburb on the outskirts of Tokyo, four teenage girls drift through a hot, smoggy August and tedious summer school classes. There's dependable Toshi, brainy Terochi, Yuzan, grief-stricken and confused, and Kiririn, whose late nights and reckless behavior remain a secret from those around her. Then, Toshi's next-door neighbor is found brutally murdered, and the girls suspect Worm, the neighbor's son, and a high school misfit. But when he disappears, having stolen Toshi's bike and mobile phone, the four girls become irresistibly drawn into a treacherous vortex of brutality and seduction which rises from within themselves as well as the world around them. You know, having read the book, that blurb makes a lot more sense and is a lot more engaging than it would have been previously. I didn't bother reading the blurb the first time. I just thought, you know what? It's another novel by Kirino, so I'll read it. It's so well written. The thing about Kirino is that she doesn't waste a single word. I was watching, or my wife was watching, the Ryan Gosling film Fall Guy earlier, and there's a scene in it where there's a dog called Jean-Claude, who's somebody mentions that he has a special trick, which is biting people's testicles. And I just thought to myself, right, if this is a well-made film, later on in the film, he will bite someone's testicles. And that's what happens. How is that relevant? Because the way Kirino and other good writers write, there are no wasted words. If a character is introduced, if something happens, if she mentions a bike or anything else, you know it's going to be pivotal in the story. You don't analyze it that way. You just, later when it becomes pivotal, when it's mentioned, you think, everything is so seamlessly done. You know, there's no unnecessary flowery language or pointless descriptions. There's none of this, oh, right now, you know, stories about Japan and cats and bookstores are fashionable, so I'll write a whole load of nonsense and disengaging bullshit about it, like some writers who seem to have gone to their editor, and the editor said, well, you're having success right now, so write about, let's see what's trending. She writes about stuff that you wouldn't otherwise think about. I mean, someone murdering his mother, teenage girls, what goes through their mind, their secret lives, you know, what seduces them. Even the sex scenes, they're not over romanticized. Yes, there are sex scenes in it. They're not ridiculous. She's such a good writer. I mean, I was on holiday, so I read the whole thing in 2 sittings. It's not her longest book. It's it's just what, 208 pages long. Can you hear that nice screaming in the background? There seems to be a crazy kid sticking his head out the sunroof, going woo woo woo. But let's let him carry on. So I would recommend that you read The Real World by Natsuo Kirino, the author of Out. The characters, it's told in the first person, but it's told from each character's perspective. So you sort of weave their stories together, but it's done well. Like everything that Kirino does, it's done really well. You know, there's Worm, the guy who is suspected of murdering his mum. Yes, he did murder his mum. No spoilers really there, because that comes out in the first couple of chapters. There's how all the characters end up is quite something. You don't see it coming. It's really well done. by telling it from each character's perspective in the first person, it quite cleverly, subtly reveals their relationships to each other and what their motivations are and everything else. I really enjoyed it. That's probably why I read about 100 pages in each sitting. I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to give it, I'd give it, if it was, you know what, if it was by any other author, I'd give it 10 out of 10. But because it's by Kirino, I know how good she is, and I enjoyed Out, which is maybe that much, whereas this book's about that much in terms of pages. I enjoyed Out and Grotesque more because I know she can do better. Like a harsh school teacher, I'm not going to give her an A. I'm not going to give it 10 out of 10. I'm going to give it 8 out of 10. I'm going to give it a B. So, once again, if you haven't read anything by Natsuo Kirino, just read it. It's like, you know, you don't need to be into a certain type of music to appreciate someone who's really, really good at that music. So, there you go. Before the crazy kid starts screaming and making bird noises again because he's just emerged out of the sunroof of the car parked a few rows in front of me, I'm going to say that's all. I hope you enjoyed it, and check out Natsuo Kirino, Real World. You can't see much of the book, I know, because the sunlight is reflecting again, and it's so damn hot, isn't it? There you go.